أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear friends, welcome to Idea Foundation Forum. Today we will discuss the research topic, the Qur'an cures fears and stress. The Qur'an cures fears and stress. The humanity has been suffering from fears, stresses, and other negative emotions and attitudes throughout its history. Hard science has been suggesting several prescriptions to cure them, but these prescriptions did not work well, as their effective application required willingness and dedicated efforts of the victims who generally have not been conscious of the necessity for change. However, some recent studies have explored possibilities of cardio-electromagnetic communication, which can help to take external or involuntary measures for positive change in human consciousness. Amazingly, the Qur'an has revealed both voluntary and involuntary measures to cure negative emotions and attitudes, especially fears and stresses, more than 1400 years ago. Today, we will discuss both the Quranic and scientific prescriptions on this account. Dear friends, in lecture 109, we discussed amygdala as an important emotional processing center in the brain. Amygdala, which receives signals of the emotions, whether positive or negative, from the heart and builds their database or emotional memory, sorting them in the familiar patterns. When a new signal is received, the amygdala compares it with the stored emotional memories or familiar patterns and takes instant decisions on the basis of familiarity of incoming sensory information. Thus, a personality is developed on the basis of persistently accumulated familiar reference patterns of emotions. These patterns of emotions are at the core, in the center of inner baseline of a person. Therefore, personalities become rigid. Why they become rigid? Because of their inner baseline based on rigid familiar patterns of emotions. Emotions in which someone is entrapped pull him down deep into a quagmire from where recovery becomes very difficult, if not impossible. Now, if the familiar patterns generated by amygdala of someone, of any person, are based on negative emotions, especially in the early age, in the childhood, it learns to expect disharmony as familiar baseline, and thus he will feel comfortable with the nature of learning, creativity, perception, emotional reactions and behavior matched with the subconscious emotional memory are associated negative physiological patterns. From a psychophysiological perspective, negative emotions keep on further triggering and accumulating alike emotions, similar emotions over the period of time. Victims of rigid negative physiological patterns fail to self regulate negative emotions, especially fears and stress, as they are hardly conscious of the need for change. They are not conscious of the, difficulties or absurdities of the negative emotions. The reference physiological patterns which have been developed, created, and reinforced through life experiences with which the brain and body have grown familiar set the vision through which one perceives the world, sees the world, compares the world. Thus, negative emotions lead to psychophysiological incoherence and lower level of resilience that establish lower inner baseline, which remains deficient of adequate energy and psychophysiological capacity or systemic stamina to avert the assaults of stress, anxieties, fears, and other negative emotions. These emotions, in most of the cases, keep their victims captive of this trap throughout their lives, for the whole life. To get rid of the trap permeated by negative emotions and attitudes, some self-regulation techniques or behavioral interventions have been devised in current heart-brain studies for developing physiological coherence and resilience by modifying reference patterns of emotions from negative to positive. Among them, heart-focused breathing, 1. Freeze frame, inner ease, and quick coherence are known techniques which enable a practitioner to get rid of the trap of negative emotions, relieving him from fears and stresses. These techniques focus to establish a new reference pattern of emotions, change from negative to positive. But unfortunately, these techniques can work only, there is a condition, they can work only if the victim is conscious of the fault line of his reference patterns and also determined to repair it. One can be determined only if he is conscious. If he is not conscious of the absurdities of his life's negative outfit and its damaging socio-physiological impact, he will remain satisfied with the environment he has been groomed in, he has been trained in. However, some recent studies have explored some possibilities of cardio-electromagnetic communication which can help to take external or involuntary measures for positive change in such cases as well. Whereas, amazingly, the Qur'an has revealed both voluntary and involuntary measures to cure negative emotions and attitudes, especially fears and stresses. Now we will discuss both Quranic and scientific prescriptions on this account. Dear friends, heart science has explored interesting facts regarding 1. Radiation of the heart outside the body. Number 2. electrophysiology of intuition, degree to which the heart's magnetic field carries information that affects other people and links people together in surprising ways. In recent studies, discussion on coherence, physiological coherence of one person has expanded from individuals' physiological coherence to coherence among families, bigger unit, workplaces, even more big, and communities, even at the global level. And individuals' coherence not only improves personal health and happiness, but it also influences the global field environment by becoming part of it. So, every individual's coherence becomes part of the global field environment. In this respect, Global Coherence Initiative has been launched by Hard Math Institute in 2008. Very, very interesting. Which explores the interconnectivity of humanity with Earth's magnetic field, geomagnetic fields. By 2015, over 160,000 people from 154 countries were involved in this initiative, who are regularly updated and informed where to direct their energetic contributions of heart-focused care and intention. Great initiative. So, GCI or this initiative believes that larger is the number of people creating heart-centered states of care, love and compassion, a more coherent electromagnetic environment will it generate, which can benefit all the people, all the nations of the globe, and help offset the current worldwide chaotic and incoherent situation at various places in the world. Further to that, human emotions and consciousness interact with and encode information in the geomagnetic field, and this information collected in the geomagnetic field. This information is communicated intuitively between people at a subconscious level, which link all living systems and it influences collective consciousness. This cardio-electromagnetic communication may be used as a powerful non-intrusive tool in the shape of collective prayers to cure prevailing socio-political evils which have made human life extremely unsafe, stressful, and unbearable. The concept of collective prayer can be ideally seen in Arafat at Mecca during the performance of Hajj. Through its finding on cardio-electromagnetic communication, science, in fact, has acknowledged sanctity and utility of the institution of mosque, pilgrimage of Kaaba, and congregational prayers. Subhanallah. This synergy of magnetic force of the hearts, try to understand. Give full attention. This synergy, collective, strength of magnetic force of the hearts was the idea behind the philosophy of congregational prayers, spiritual practices, fasting, and sharing of endeared wealth, love, care, compassion with needy members of the community. This idea was behind this philosophy, this synergy of geomagnetic forces. These Islamic institutions focus to groom, train the Muslims in the belief in the oneness of Allah and His sovereign authority over all the affairs of the universe and the man himself, and shared well-being, common, and shared well-being of the humanity. This faith in the oneness of Allah and His authority, this faith, along with the belief in the day of judgment, frees the man, give independence, give freedom, frees the man from greed, self-centered interests, and all negative emotions, especially fears and stresses and anxieties. So, dear friends, the Qur'an has described the interconnectivity of the elements of the man and the universe. Mind the words. I am not saying interconnectivity of the man and the elements of the universe, because man has also innumerable elements like the universe. So, Quran has described the interconnectivity of the elements of the man and the universe in a very, very expressive manner. Every cell in our body is connected with an external and internal environment of fluctuating, invisible magnetic forces that can affect virtually every circuit in biological systems. Every circuit. While on the other hand, physiological coherences in humans and global collective behaviors are not only synchronized with solar and geomagnetic activity, but disruptions, sudden changes in these fields can create adverse effects on human health and behavior and the universal setting as well. It can have adverse effect on the individual human being and also on the universal setting. I will request to have look on ayat 5 to 9 of Surah Ar-Rahman displayed on the screen, wherein in these ayat, physiological coherences in humans and global collective behaviors are desired to be synchronized with the universal system, pursuing the laws of nature which refer to order, balance, justice, coherence, and mutually supporting conduct of the elements, small or big, of the universe. So this is the lesson of these ayat. The Quran has given a comprehensive framework to pull the man from the quagmire of negative emotions, fears, and stresses to restore lost charms of his body, mind, heart, and soul, blessed by the divine nature. The Quran has strongly desired coherence, equilibrium, inner balance, and psychophysiological order, making it essential. The man's adherence to the laws of nature and complete coherence with the tunes of the nature, as the man's nature is replica of the divine nature, is the reflection of the divine nature, Please think on the words of Ayat 30 of Surah Ar-Rum shown on the screen. To further elaborate this Quranic direction, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam directed his followers, directed Muslims, takhlaqu bi ikhlaqillah, which means adopt Allah's nature, His attributes, His character, so that the man's nature could be tuned with the divine nature, which frees the man of all negative attitudes, fears, and stresses. So, dear friends, in previous lecture, we have seen that the positive emotions comes out from the piety of the heart or the righteous life, as revealed in Ayat 32 of Surah Al-Hajj, shown on the screen. The Quran's philosophy of righteous life comprises of faith, ibadat, and good deeds. Faith in oneness of Allah, His exclusive authority over the affairs of the universe and their connectivity with the divine order, together with the faith in the inevitability of the day of judgment, provides a strong base for a righteous life that frees the man from all sorts of fears, including the fears of death and poverty. As we have been discussing, the heart is at the center of the man's spiritual being and psychophysiological being. It receives the divine signals, and transmits them to its psychophysiological counterparts in the language common to them. A heart devoted to his Creator finds a connectivity with the divine order, and thereby this connectivity becomes a great source of supreme wisdom and energy. Higher level of energy and wisdom inculcates stronger resilience, which saves one's personality from the traps of negative emotions like fears and stresses. The message of divine connectivity also impacts amygdala positively, which helps reduce rigidity of the existing patterns based on negative emotions that relieves the respective personality of unfounded fears and stresses. Dear friends, let us join together. Let us join together without distinction of color, culture, religion, and sect to fight against all negative forces of evil causing fears, stresses, and socio-economic inequities, and to achieve well-being and global peace for the humanity. The Muslims must take lead in this noble cause to meet their obligations given in the Qur'an. Allah has desired sharing of endeared wealth, love, care, and compassion with the needy members of the community. We are supposed to do good with our fellow beings as Allah has done good to us. We should walk upon the earth peacefully, should return good against evil and civility against arrogance to relieve the mankind of fears and stress. We are desired to sow seeds of our good conduct and positive attitudes to reap peace, prosperity, and freedom for the humanity. We are to accomplish the purpose of our creation as vicegerent of Allah by doing all this with patience, fairness, and grace. So, dear friends, we conclude our discussion here. These programs are recorded both in Urdu and English. Their videos can be watched on ideafoundation.com.pk website or its YouTube channel and Facebook. Their written versions are also available on the Idea Foundation's website. Please note code number of this program Idea 1B R17 or lecture number 111. All friends are requested to subscribe the Foundation's YouTube web channel for the benefit of this noble cause. Thank you friends for participation. Allah Hafiz.